Okay, thank you. So I overheard one of the questions about information you can give to parents. So we will actually send Mrs. Stella, we actually will send you what we call underwater robotics FAQs for parents. It's a whole one-page presentation on why this is important, what it connects to, how they can get involved, resources. You can use it however you want to use it to share out with the parents. So we'll make sure you have that.
We probably may end up doing some kind of news release or something like that, write up about it. But what we do, we coordinate that with Tyreek and because I know there's certain ways that you have to using using stimulation that you have to write this stuff up. So we get all of that coordinated with them and pass it on.
It might have already been asked, is this a middle school, because it's an angelfish and more simpler per se, is that the average group or age group we're targeting for this would be middle schoolers?
Right, so good question. This is really about the ability of the students. So the students that we're working with, the youngest age group is first grade.
See, but we're choosing. I was telling them, even though the project for the early elementary kids, we're just choosing for this project upper elementary school and middle school and leading into high school so that we can have kids that will start on project and grow in and they won't graduate after they just got involved with the project.
That's exactly right. And then the other thing that you're doing with that, you're creating a training pipeline. So if you already, this is a pilot for you guys. And so by starting with some middle school kids, so 5th and 4th grade or 4th and 5th grade, however that works out down there in Florida, you create a training pipeline for your younger kids next year that you bring in. So next year, maybe you're bringing in first graders and second graders, but your pilot year, you have 4th and 5th graders that are now going to train those first and second graders and get them acclimated. All right. So, just for the purposes of clarity, so I know that was a little long, that first one. So here's what we can expect moving forward. So we're going to shorten these segments. So we'll go 20 minutes and break for 2 or 3 and start right back up. It's a long time to sit for an hour, especially if you're not actually putting this stuff together. It can be a little boring and dry. So we don't want that to happen at all. All right. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is we've already trimmed our wires. So the next thing is we're going to find a terminal ring, and we're going to need the red terminal ring connectors. Now our goal here with our terminal ring connectors is this. We're going to take our wire and we want to make sure that we twist. I'm going to come a little closer so we can actually see this. This will be an example of something that's done correct. This one is done right. And I'll show you what one looks like that's not done right. Okay? So my goal is to take the wire that I just trimmed and I'm going to twist it. I'm taking it from stranded and I'm making it solid. Just slightly twisting. Doesn't matter which direction you twist. And then what I want to do is I want to take my terminal ring connector and I want to slide the wire through. And as you push up, here's what you're going to see. In the eye, you're going to see in the eye of this, some of this is sticking up. This actually is not what you want, but I'm going to show you how to fix that. So if we slide this down, you can see what's happening here. So notice as I start to slide this down, if I slide too far, I'm going to see the wire exposed. You see that?
Down a little, put it down a little bit. Move it down a little. There you go.
Can you see that? If you pull it too far down, you're going to have you're going to have this wire exposed there. So you want to push this up. This is too far. This is just about right. The goal is to make sure that you don't end up with any wire being exposed on the other end of this. And I'm going to do one wrong so you can see it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to crimp this wire. So here's where I use my crimping tool. And the really cool thing about the crimping tool is it has numbers on it. And if you look on the bottom, it's an auto crimper and it has yellow, red, and blue. That is connected to the type of terminal ring that you have. So because I'm using a red terminal ring, I'm going to use the red crimping space, not the blue one or the yellow one. I mean, not the red. Not the yellow one or the blue one. And so I'm going to do this one wrong so you can see what happens if it's wrong. Okay? So I'm doing it backwards. And I'm going to pull this down right about here. And I'm going to crimp this. So the way that you crimp it is you take this and you find the color. It was red, and you place it inside where red is, and you just squeeze down. And the wire is crimped. Now, if you look closely, you can see that I got a couple of things happening here. The first thing that I have happening is I don't have any wire coming up the top. And if you look really close, you have a break where you can see that wire underneath. That is not what you want. That has to be protected. So this is actually the wrong way to do that. So I'm going to just do the other side and show you the right way. So I take my terminal ring connector, I take my wire, and I'm going to marry these two. So because I've already made it solid, I'm going to just take it and slide this through. And I'm going to push as far as I can. I don't have to use force. Because I measured this right, I should automatically see that wire peeking its little head out right at the right height. And if I hold this now, you can see that there's nothing on the bottom. You can't see the wire like you saw it before. And so I'm going to use my crimper. Again, I'm finding where the red is. I'm placing this on the red. And I'm just going to squeeze down tightly. And now I have this perfectly crimped wire. This is perfect. I have the wire not peeking through the hole, and we'll see why that's important when we actually make this connection. And I don't have any wire exposed under the bottom here, like I had before with this one. Does that make sense? This is what we want, and we would do all 6 of those wires the same exact way. We would do them the same way. Okay. So I want to just go through and do these very quickly. Well, not quickly, but I'm going to go ahead and push this one through. Now, in an instance where you run into a problem where you have too much wire peeking through, you got too much, so you push this through and it's just too much, just take this out, get your trimmers, and just trim a little bit off. Just trim a little bit off. Just trim a little bit off. I'm going to take this, push this through, and I'm going to use my crimping tool. Now, what will happen is if you use the wrong color, you just won't get a proper crimp. Someone asked that before. Well, what if I use the wrong color? Ha ha ha. Well, you use the wrong color, you just won't get the right crimp. Yeah, kids come up with all the stuff that makes this very interesting. And I've heard a lot of different tools. So just to keep this real interesting for you, the person or the team that you have working on this will be their only job that they're doing. Crimp those wires. You got another person that's doing QC, quality control. Make sure everything looks good, everything's on point. That's going to be very important, uber important, when we go to make those connections. So I'm going to just finish this up very quickly without creating a problem. If you have any questions, you can ask now. We can just to kind of get rid of the silence. I don't want anybody to I don't want to take for granted you have no questions. But if you have any questions, we can use that while I'm crimping these to just get those questions out of the way. One of the things that I heard Mr. Stella say earlier, which I wanted to just touch on, I am always available, but my wife actually doesn't like that. So I need to create. I have a schedule, and so I'll share my schedule out with you. That if you have questions, believe me, I'm available to answer your questions and get you comfortable with this. We can do a session like this if it works for you. You can send me an email with pictures, whatever questions you may run into, challenges you may run into that you just need some further clarity on. I'm available, and so I'll make sure in the resource section of the video that we're going to share out that you know exactly how to reach me or someone from my team.
Well, we'll talk to you at the end a little bit on some ideas of what we have to we can make this work to the benefit of all, and we can schedule some informational session with you. One or two of them may be during the session when we have all the kids working or something, but we'll sort it out and and confer with you in reference to how you can be informed and advised and involved with the sessions and know what's going on this end.
Yeah, it's really, thank you. Yep, anything I can do to help and to support you on this learning journey with this for your young people, I'm available for that. All right, so now that I have my 6 wires connected, I'm gonna go ahead and put this into play. Now, to make this actually work, I used my ratcheting style crimper. This allows me to manually just do that. So I got that, made that tight. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about these double pole, double throw switches. Now, my double pole, double throw switch doesn't have numbers. If you want to take yours out to see what I'm talking about, you can. But you have a series of numbers. There are 6 of these, what we call poles or ports, and all of them are numbered. Now, this is the older style double pole, double throw switch that doesn't have the numbers on it. The numbers are important, and so that's why they came up with the new numbering system. And so the numbering system is, let me look real quick because it changed twice already on me. So it should be from the top, it's going to be 1, 2, then it's 3, 4, and then it's 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's how these numbers are. Okay? So this is really, 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 really important to get this part right. Because what we want to do is we want to connect these wires in a certain way. And so the first thing that I need is this. I'm going to make a connection, what we call a cross connection first. So I'm going to go from one side to the other side. And I'm going to come a little closer. Come a little closer so we can actually see this.
Do a little schematic come with the kit?
Yeah, so there is a little drawing. There's nothing that comes with the kit. I'm going to show you a drawing that you can use to just kind of illustrate what this is. But what we're doing is, if you look at our double pole, double throw switches, we have 6 different ports. So what I'm doing is, and it doesn't matter which one I do first because all of them have to be done the same way. So I'm just choosing to do this one first. But it would be the same if I chose this one or this one. It doesn't matter. What I'm doing first is I'm making the connection from 1 to 6 first. 1 to 6. 1 to 6. And how I'm doing that is
Is that the opposite of what you showed, Jack? Is that the opposite of what you showed before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, how you labeled it.
Yeah, that's,
I think it says it depends on, because once you have whichever.
the numbers. Yeah, it has numbers on it. You'll see the numbers. Oh wow, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll see the numbers. You'll see the numbers, and it doesn't matter if it's that way or that way. You're connecting 1 to 6, so it won't matter if I do it this way or this way, because I'm connecting pole 1 and port 6. So if this was port 1, I'm going to take this terminal ring connector. Now, there is a right and wrong way that this happens. So your eye of your terminal ring connector has open and closed. Has open and closed. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we look for the open end. Take our screwdriver, our screw, we place that inside. And this requires two people sometimes to get this done. A person holding and a person actually doing the screwing. So I'm going to ask you to hold this wire. And I'm going to place that right there, just on the end. And I'm going to... The screwdriver that we're using is not magnetized. You may have a magnetized screwdriver. Let me see this. Let me see that screw. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this and no, this is magnetized right here. So let me go here. And I need to be able to see that hole right there.
Hey, Tyree, wouldn't that be one of the reasons why you want your wire to go up so far? Because if it does go so far, it keeps screwing all the way down.
Not only that, it will also impede the screw going in correctly. Right. Now, we're going to need we're going to come back and add something to that. So I don't need to make this uber tight. I just need it to be on here, just like that. And then I go with the other side. This was 1, and then I'm going to 6. Now, if you look at how this is laid out, students are going to make this mistake. You see how it's just easy for me to go just like that? But this is the closed side. I need the open side. So I got to twist that wire.
So both sides be open and the closed side on the actual nut.
Correct. That's exactly right. So I'm going to make this connection, Same way, can you hold that wire in place for me? Making sure the opening is open.
If you want to be correct, just a little bit of wire showing.
So you want to run over the strings, come loose, and you put power, you can short out. That's why you want to make sure.
Now, all I'm doing is, I'm not getting uber tight with this. This is what I need. This is a cross connection right here. 1 to 6. All right, so now I'm gonna do the other one. How many minutes?
So Tyreek, with the wires crossing the 6 centimeters should be long enough for all of them to cross each other without an issue, correct?
Yeah, so it's long enough. The 6.5 centimeters that we measured, that's why we did that, to give us a little play and a little tension on it, less tension on the wire. That's why we did it that way. So this is plenty. We want this to be just, this is plenty. So now that we have 1 and 6 together, now we're gonna go to port 3 and 4, or poles 3 and 4. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna go here and here. I'm just doing a cross. So let me show you. I'm completing my cross first. This is what I'm gonna end up with when I'm done. That's my first one. And this has to be the same for all 3 of them.
So that's 1 to 6, 2.
3 to 4 would be sideways, though, right?
Well, so it depends on, if you look on your, so do you have a double pole, double throw switch? It would be good for you to look at one to just see what I'm talking about.
What's in here?
It's the one who boxes
Can
here.
we just see it from
I just see it.
It's hard to see the numbers.
If it's one in there,
You got a screwdriver, so you open it.
Yeah, see, the numbers are different.
That's okay. We'd have to get a screwdriver to open up our box. That's what we can see it through the box. That's okay.
I can go get it to guys.
1, 2.
Yeah, we can see
That's
it.
the point, though, is the
Yeah, 3 and 4 would be straight
sides.
across.
That's right.
Yeah, I see it like this, right?
Yeah, that's how
Yeah,
it would
that's how you shut it the first time.
That's what I thought.
That's not something.
So you got the long one.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But it looks like you did 1 to 6 and then 2 to 5.
Yeah, 1 to 6, 2 to 5.
That's what it looked like.
When you crisscrossed them, 1 to 6 is top corner to right corner, and then 2 to 5 would be like making an X.
Yeah,
On a diagram, it would 3 to 4 would be left to right in the center ones.
yeah. So what? So here's what I don't have. Here's what I don't have. I don't have numbers on mines, but what we're doing is, for sure, we're making the cross connection. You have the advantage. I'm using older double pole, double throw switches. So what I want you to remember is, we're making a cross connection first. So whatever this number is and whatever that number is, we're crossing that first,
Yeah.
or crossing this one first. But the
Yeah.
goal is, we need to create crosses first.
Okay,
So whatever those numbers are. So even if this was 11 and 15, no problem. We're just crossing.
He's saying 5 and 2 would be
Well,
next.
Yeah, so that's
When you counted them before, you went left to right, 1, 2, and then 3, 4 was the center, and then 5 and 6 was the last 2, if you will. So that's what we're going off of.
Yeah, I apologize for saying that incorrectly. So I don't. If you look at mines, I don't have numbers on mines, but the wiring on how this goes is the way that the double pole, double throw switches that we used to use had these numbers as 1, 2, 3,
Right.
4, 5,
Right.
6.
Fine.
That's right.
That's what I wrote down on the notes. So we're
Yeah.
just going, right? So your first connection, you went 1 to 6, and then you're going to go 2 to 5 is your next.
Correct.
We have the same switch you have.
Correct.
I mean, look at it from here, so it would still be
2 and
crisscross.
5 instead of
Yeah, it's not 3 and 4.
3 and 4 would still be across the middle.
Yeah.
Well,
So. Right. So whatever your number, and I apologize for the naming conventions for this is just not consistent all across the board yet. But But whatever your numbers are, it wouldn't matter if we had letters or whatever. What we're doing is we're making one cross connection, another cross connection first.
I'll take it.
Okay.
And again, I apologize for not having numbers on mine. And I don't know the numbers that are on yours, but just keep in mind that whatever the numbers are, doesn't matter. First connection that we make is a cross connection. Top. So if we looked at this way, I would say top left, bottom right.
Right.
Okay.
Top right, bottom left, or top right, bottom left. It doesn't matter if I do this one first or that one first. I'm just making my cross connections first.
That's fine.
I told him.
Manuela, are you okay? I know you had some concerns yesterday with this.
I mean, I'm literally writing almost everything you're saying. So, but as long as we get this video, I think I'm more of a hands-on learner.
Yeah, me too.
Having the video and actually doing it is really it's gonna come together for me at
Right.
least.
Okay.
And you have
Thank you.
specific questions about anything, you'll know exactly what they are.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna finish this up. You want to help me finish this up? So I'm gonna finish this up. Well, actually, that's 26 minutes. So I'm gonna pause for 2 minutes and come right back. And the reason why I'm doing that, we want to keep the video short so we can get it uploaded faster and get it edited with a shorter time frame. So we're gonna stop now and then take 2 minutes and then come right back.